Why are we putting ourselves through this? Season 1, Episode 3. Let's get into it.
Told her good luck with your bullshit. I told her good luck with your bullshit. Boy, I'm anointed by Jesus. Swear I should be in the pulpit. Told her good luck with your bullshit. I told her good luck with your bullshit. I'm only attracted to keepers.
We pick up where we left off with Liam being called down on his bullshit. Of course he decided to stay because threatening to leave was just a manipulation tactic. Which worked, by the way, because it got him out of that conversation. See, Liam is one of the 4 horsemen of this season. We've got Liam, Craig, Dan, and Connor. All they know is game, and they're not ready to retire. The problem with Liam's strategy, though, is that if you don't actually leave, she's just going to keep bringing it up, bro. So Paul graciously grants him another opportunity to be honest.
Olivia, you have some text messages?
Yeah.
The text messages say what?
That Liam slept with someone else.
Is there any truth to what she has? Bullshit.
Disappointed, but not surprised. She admits to the camera and to everyone else that she still doesn't believe him. And as everybody is headed back to their respective sides of the retreat, we hear her say that if he doesn't, come clean and be honest with her, she's gonna leave. In the last video, I joked about all the diabolical men being on the same side of the retreat. They live in, we'll call them 2 separate villas, right? We've got Azul and Rosa. On this channel, they'll be called Asshole and Rosa because Dan, Craig, Liam, and Connor all reside in Azul. So over in Asshole, Liam is complimenting Rebecca G on her maturity.
I forget you're so young because the way you carry yourself like a grown-ass woman.
All of a sudden, Craig pipes up and shows us that negging is his preferred method of courtship.
No, she doesn't. Oh, there he is.
He's always got to get his 2 pence in.
Do you know what I love about you? I'll be honest. This is me. This is probably the nicest thing I'm going to say about you.
They do it because it works. This show can help a lot of people out. All you gotta do is pay attention. I personally could never deploy a negging campaign in pursuit of a woman. I was out here writing poems and singing to bitches. Then they would find out I was just a dog who could carry a tune. Over in Rosa, they're debating the sincerity of Dan's speech just because of how dismissive he was in his meeting with his ex. I understand the speculation. I didn't even acknowledge or mention his apology in the last video because I didn't believe it either. But I thought Sean's reason for not believing it was stupid.
I've done speeches in front of thousands of people, yeah? But I couldn't just go up to that stage and go speak as clear as what he did.
Was it the I Have a Dream speech? Was it the fucking Gettysburg Address? Like, it was a good apology, but it wasn't life-changing. Maybe you're just dumb. Back in Asshole, they're getting ready for bed, and Rebecca G is talking about how Biggs didn't make her feel special. And this leads to obvious sexual innuendo between her and Craig.
I can make myself feel special, but
How'd you make yourself feel special?
use your imagination.
They gonna end up hunching, ain't they? Now keep in mind, this happened in front of all the occupants of Asshole, because I'm gonna have an issue with somebody later. Next, we get an unnecessary conversation between the lady host and Paul Brunson. So instead of just having him announce to everyone that they'll be spending time with someone from the other side of the resort who's not their partner, we have to watch him explain his plan to the lady host first, because otherwise she would get no screen time.
Everyone here at the retreat is going to spend time with someone one-on-one. I've paired them with the person that they could learn the most from. You like that, right?
Yes.
They put Dan with Lucia, and he's telling us that he's gonna check her because she's not letting Connor explain himself, and I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about, but I'm here for the drama. Meanwhile, Olivia is meeting with Rebecca G, and she tells her that she's actually spoken with the girl that Liam slept with. And while this is happening, Liam is meeting with Dan's ex and still acting stupid.
Did that happen though then with that girl?
I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what she's talking about.
I don't even care about that no more. My question for Liam is this. Why do you have a headband on 24/7? For real, why do you always look like you about to go play tennis? What's up with that?
She just wants the truth. If you've cheated, you would know.
Yeah, but my main thing is that even once this is wound out, is she still going to think that I've got another 10 years to be trying to make her come back from that? Because I've got no time for that.
That's not something an innocent man would say. Or a smart man to a woman that your ex is living with in front of cameras on a TV show. What'd I do to y'all? What did I do to y'all? Nah, come on here, man. I make my little videos, try to make y'all laugh, drop a couple nuggets here and there.
Say
You been
make
watching
me
my
feel like
videos?
Master
You ain't
Splinter.
subscribed. I ain't
Catch me
wanna do
round
this,
your
man.
bitch
I
way,
know I'm
best
good.
believe I've
I
been
know
up
this shit
in
is
her.
entertaining. I know
Nigga
it.
tried diss me,
I know
I
it
ain't
is.
even
It don't
gon'
cost
get
you
him. But
nothing.
if you
I don't
talking about
like
that fist
asking
play,
for
best
shit. I don't
believe
want
I'm
to
no
ask nobody
beginner.
for shit.
Told her
You like
freak
the
I'm
video,
trying to
but you
pin
don't
her.
like the
Gave
video.
her D,
You
she
watch
gave me
more than
dinner.
once.
Slayed the P, I
Bruh,
made it
what the
quiver.
nigga
Heard
out,
the
man?
beat.
Please.
Would it not just be like, do you know what? Yeah, maybe I did cheat on you as well with that girl.
Again, don't know what else you want me to say.
I've been lying to this woman for 10 years. You think I'm finna tell you the truth? Meanwhile, her man Dan forgets that he's here for his relationship, and in this beautiful date environment with Lucia, somehow defaults to dirty macking. He tells her that over in Asshole, they were talking about who they would go for if it weren't for their exes.
Oh! He's like, unbelievable, but like he did say, obviously you're allowed to find people attractive. He found her attractive.
That's really shocked me.
There was no reason to tell her that, or even mention it in conversation. Like, there's no relevance whatsoever. If it's not dirty macking, then he perhaps thought that this would cause her to forgive Connor more quickly so he doesn't try to get with somebody else. I know, it's stupid. But Lucia is just confused by all of this because they're not getting down like this over in Rosa. See, over in Rosa, they're talking about their relationships, not floating hypotheticals about each other. Because the men in Rosa, while still cheaters, they aren't bad people. You know, they're just immature, lack self-control, a little stupid. But the men in Asshole are actually some rotten motherfuckers.
So is he cracking on?
He's not cracking on.
So you're trying to say to me that he's here for me, but if I keep shooting him down, he's going to go for Emily?
It wasn't anything deep.
It's deep to me because I've been cheated on by him.
Upon his return to Asshole, Rebecca G informs Liam that Olivia has some pretty solid evidence of his infidelity. To which he essentially responds, well, if she caught me, I guess I'll admit it.
But she said that she spoke to the girl, actually met the girl. The girl's told her things that only she would know.
At the end of the day, like, if she's got details and things like that, I'm willing to own up to this shit, you know what I mean?
Oh, good. Now Olivia doesn't have to leave. Now we have Connor meeting with Craig's ex, Jazz, and she confirms that negging is his go-to.
He just really wants to push on and just show you how much you really mean to him.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. Like,
it's so weird because he's treat him mean, keep him keen.
He's
He's that kind of vibe.
Treat him mean, keep him keen? Really? So you fell in love with a man who was not only living with his baby mother, but talking to you crazy? I just know it's a little corny ass dude somewhere out there laughing his ass off because she wouldn't give him the time of day. Craig's don't just happen. This is divine punishment for all the good men she pushed to the side. And you can tell like she's already ready to let bro back in. For some reason they had Craig meet with Sean and they didn't say shit. Dan did tell Connor that he threw him under the bus with Lucia and he just sat there with a stupid smile on his face. Meanwhile, Jazz reports to Lucia that Connor is telling everybody they ain't seen each other in 5 years.
I'm actually done. He has seen me. It was only a month ago that I was in his bed with him. I really need to speak to him to understand why he's lying. Oh, shut up. You literally had a dick inside me a month ago.
Why are y'all here then? Now, I think 8 couples is too many already. But if this is a retreat for exes to resolve their issues, it seems like y'all's already resolved that he was just in them guts a month ago. I think he's just saying that because it sounds better for the show if they haven't seen each other in 5 years and she's just not sticking to the script. For some reason, Steph and Andre were the only couple who got to see each other, and they did so in a foursome with Tegan and Kieran. I didn't take much from this meeting other than that Steph and Andre looked pretty cozy. Then we get this shit.
I slept with somebody else, right?
Yeah, we know about
One
that.
night stand.
So you don't know the girl? Does Rebecca know the girl?
No, I don't remember her name or what she looks like.
Have you done anything else like, along the way?
Biggs tells her that there were some messages, between him and another woman as well, but they didn't lead anywhere. Personally, I don't think this is news. I mean, if he would cheat, then it stands to reason that he would be texting hoes. But what bothers me about this scene is how up in arms Amberly appears to be about these messages.
These messages, there must have been some kind of intention behind it. Otherwise, what would be the point of messaging when he's in a relationship? I do plan on telling that to Rebecca. She deserves to know.
Wait a minute. You were in the room when Craig and Rebecca were joking about how she pleases herself, right? You were at the table over in Asshole when y'all were talking about who would go for who if not for your exes. And remember how Rebecca said Craig without hesitation and he also said her? You remember that shit, right? So how is it that she just has to know about some text messages that Biggs exchanged with somebody he never did anything with, but Biggs doesn't need to know that Craig is just a couple more insults away from being all up in Rebecca's cheeks? So Amber Lee takes her little funny looking ass back over the asshole and tells Rebecca about these text messages. That way she can get closer to Craig and Biggs can be none the wiser.
Ever been any other cheating in the relationship? He was like, a few messages here and there.
Honestly, I'm fed up. Not only have you cheated on us, you now actually have been texting other people behind me back.
Whatever, go talk to Craig about it. The next day, Paul, the only necessary host, tells the unnecessary lady host that he's going to have some one-on-one sessions with some of the more problematic couples. We start with a sit-down between him, Connor, and Lucia. Now, Connor claims that he was saying they hadn't been together as far as like as a couple for 5 years, not that they hadn't seen each other. He also admits that he had met and fell in love with another woman after their relationship. Consequently, he admits that the sex they had about a month ago, while enjoyable, didn't really mean much to him.
Did it mean anything to you?
With me and Lucia, we've always had good sex. I feel like the whole feelings and stuff maybe wasn't as strong as like when we was in love.
He actually might be the worst guy. Don't forget, this is the guy that had a chick hiding in the attic.
It was meaningful to you?
Yeah. I feel like I'm there as a comfort blanket for him when he wants me. I got myself to blame. I've put myself in that position.
Well, long as you know. Back in Rosa, we have some foreshadowing going on with Biggs and Jazz discussing the budding relationship between their exes.
I reckon Rebecca and Craig would get on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not worried at all.
No, I'm not worried. I think if Craig wasn't so determined to get me back.
Is it hubris or just plain old ignorance? And the fact that they're talking about it with each other indicates that they are indeed worried. And they should be, because Rebecca is damn near begging Craig to make a move.
All I need now is just like a handhold and like a little stroke, you know?
Little hair stroke.
Yeah.
Finally, we see Paul meet with Liam and Olivia, and he finally admits to sleeping with the girl that Olivia's been in communication with. He maintains that he simply didn't remember the encounter, blaming it on the alcohol. And then Paul tells Olivia to stop acting like a doormat in the nicest way possible.
You know what's interesting? You know you were with a partner that, quite honestly, you could do anything.
Y'all see that nod? And she's too busy crying over something that she already knew he did, but was still lying about, to even really notice that he just admitted to playing her.
He's got a big loaf of bread, and he breaks off a little crumb, and he's like, Olivia, here you go, here's a little crumb. And you say, thank you for this crumb. Is a crumb enough for you?
Yes. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Appreciate y'all.
I came empty-handed, but I'm leaving with 3. Plus I made about a G, cause I made them tip me.